maybe that we could put these in and we'll really never use them. I don't know. But I certainly would be willing to do that.
If I could add for clarity, board member, when I'm envisioning this governance subcommittee, it would be a space, for example, when we talked about that bylaw we just took away on school site councils, and we made a suggestion of what we might want to address or look at in relation to an affirmation. It would be that place to have that kind of conversation so that we bring stuff to the board that is not having a governance conversation, much like the facility subcommittee. I get it, the goal is to have that work isolated in that space. That's what I was envisioning.
I think it would be helpful when we have special celebrations if we started earlier. Because I don't want to reduce the amount of time for student performances or recognition of our teams, but I do think we have to acknowledge that we still have the same amount of business to do as we ordinarily do, so we have to make up that time somewhere, and perhaps starting earlier would make sense.
Just in response to that, I personally will make a commitment if I need to be earlier, but what I'm concerned about is there are a whole lot of folks that I want to be engaged in our democracy. That's what this is. And they can't get here before 5:30, some of them even 6. And so it's something that I don't think we should take lightly about changing the time for the public engagement of our board meetings. But it's something I know folks struggle with. And there are boards that are bigger than ours and we start doing, and we just, too bad it didn't work. But given our community, I don't want to make them have to leave work, because that means maybe their kids will eat. So let's really think about what are the alternatives to what the solution is. And then we can problem solve this in a way that still maintains creating a positive opportunity for all our community members to be engaged in our work.
I'm going to suggest that when you just sit here and begin thinking of ideas, you get a long list. We're going to need to be able to sit down and I think go through and select the things, prioritize things, but consider something as important as what you just talked about. I probably wouldn't necessarily have thought of. We've got a retreat that we not have coming up.
We're in the process of scheduling a retreat.
Can we request that time be set aside during the event for us to address this and give us an opportunity to do maybe a little bit of research before we get there to bring that in with us? Just writing a set of governance rules doesn't work if we don't understand what we're trying to do with it. So that would be my suggestion, that we carry this conversation over to that date and bring in what we're all pretty good at finding stuff that we want to bring it in.
All right. So, is that everybody?
I have one more comment. As far as our retreat, we've been talking about a certain facilitator who's excellent. However, I don't feel this person has the experience they need in governance to lead a certain parts of the meeting. So I would like to take that into consideration as well.
Okay. So,
Mr. Groves?
Yeah.
We had a late submitted public comment. Will you accept that?
Yeah.
Ms. Joanna Pace?
2 minutes, please.
Thank you for allowing me to do this efforts. I guess it's my bonus prize for sitting here this long. I would just like to put in my 2 cents to the board that as a community member who's interested in many things and has only one child, I would suggest you not organize another subcommittee. As it is, it's pretty hard for interested community members to track the subcommittees that they are interested in, because even if you're only interested in 2, I mean, then that's 3 meetings a month. And so I would suggest you keep this discussion here in this setting where the meetings are very predictable time. It's a little tricky to find out when subcommittees meet, and it's not as predictable as the district, as the board meetings. And I'd like to suggest in that way if the whole idea is to get people more involved, maybe make a tab above the fold, so to speak, on the district website that just says, something that says, next board meeting agenda, because you really have to kind of navigate through to find the agenda, okay? So I think there are ways to be sure people are involved that don't involve starting another committee. I've been attending board meetings for 13 years. I'd like to suggest we continue the practice of the board not commenting on public comment. That's a way to make meetings shorter. And maybe in your introduction that we do sort of a very predictable and regular ritual of educating the community about the Brown Act, so people understand which things we do because state law requires that we do it, and it's to their benefit that we not comment on things that haven't been on an agenda that's been published. So I urge you to, yes, improve the skeleton of how the meetings are structured, but let's not make a whole new structure that people have to bird dog. Thanks.
Okay, so given all this input, I'm in favor of moving each item along in development. I think possibly sequencing them so that we do address the handbook at retreat with somebody familiar with the handbook development. And then definitely a lot of the inefficiency in our meeting time has been particular to my notice in this role as the presidency. My commitment to definitely make this time more effective. We should aim for a 4-hour meeting. We should be able to get the substantial work done in that 4 hours, and our primary goal is successful achievement. And I don't feel like we've been able to get as much of that in as we want. And so I'd like to be able to become more effective in this role, and then as a board, as a group, as a team, to become more effective in our role, so that the staff has a unity of voice and direction. And I think each one of these elements has something to contribute. So I think at this point I would suggest moving ahead with a further development of all